Hi guys, I hope my screen is visible to you. So today we are talking about Security Pro Bundle, which has multiple courses related to the network security, cloud security, and obviously cyber security. Right. So let me share next slide to you. This has couple of courses starting from CCNA, okay, the routing, switching, networking, fundamental IP address, subnetting, and all, along with the network security, Palo Alto market leader. Okay, how to protect the network, what policies you need to apply in the firewalls. Along with the F5 load balancer device, how to manage traffic for a like website, or how you can manage traffic on a server. You can learn two operating system, powerful operating system, Windows Server and Linux, so that you will be ready for cloud security and cyber security according to the like operating system. With that, we have cloud, the Azure, Microsoft Azure 104 cloud admin level, how you can create machine on the cloud. Azure 500, that would be cloud security. Okay. Now we have CEH certified ethical hacking with the CISSP, and you can see with the top-notch AI tools. Now, if I'm talking about our company from last 7 years, we are providing online training to MNCs only on behalf of corporate. Okay, means corporate training we were providing. Now we are entering into the retail sector. Directly, we are providing trainings to students at most affordable pricing. And if I'm talking about my trainers, we have, trainer, Mr. Jay Kumar, who is having more than 20 plus years of experience working in different domains like cyber security, cloud, and obviously in network as well. And he has already served worldwide, Singapore, London, okay, Middle East. He has already given training to, many companies. Second one is Bhagyashri. Bhagyashri is having 7 plus years of experience working as a TAC engineer in Ireland. And the third one is about me, Shailendra, and I have 13 years of experience. And I will be, going to teach you cyber security related stuff. Further, if I'm talking about, jobs opportunity after learning this Security Pro bundle, you will not get, rejected in any interview, okay? Because companies are asking for security, domain only. And now I'm, forwarding this, meeting to Mr. Jay Kumar. Over to you, sir. You can, tell us about your point of view, right?
This particular bundle, course bundle, it's basically it's like for the people who want to become, who want to make a career in, you can say, on the infrastructure or in the cyber security. When I talk about cyber security, now it includes the cloud security as well. Now, when we talk about the infrastructure, it includes the cloud infrastructure as well in today's environment, in today's industry. So when we talk about the this particular courses, which is a bundle, uh, which combines different technologies, but although they are the technology from the different vendors like Microsoft, Palo Alto, right? Or you got cybersecurity has got different tools are there, and different products are there. But combining them together, because they all are related with each other, and they acknowledge each other also. So the very basic thing about, if these courses is, it's easy also, we can say, in a way it's easy in the sense that if you got your mind open, and you got a little bit experience of how to operate a computer itself, then you can easily start with the very basic thing, and slowly and gradually you can finish all these courses and learn all this technology in the given time. And with the proper practice and proper guidance, you can land up to a good job in your hand. Now, if you start with the very basic Microsoft Certified System Administrator, MCSA, that is, it will teach you about the basic of Microsoft server technologies, and how you are going to create a domain, and a network, how you're going to manage a network, how you're going to create a web server, how you're going to make a file server. A lot of things are there in details, where you create a network and you manage them. Then how are you going to protect that network? So to protect the network, we've got different technologies. We have got firewalls, right? Like Palo Alto is one of them. So you'll be learning about that also. At the same time, we have now almost everyone is moving to the cloud. So we learn about the cloud also of Microsoft. Azure clouds are there. Microsoft has got their cloud service known as Azure. It has got all different kind of services, including IoT, including your infrastructure platform. You got a lot of services there. So you learn about them, and then you learn about the cloud security as well. Now, combination of all these will make sure that whatever is currently running in the market, you have got that skill with you, and you can easily get a good job. Now we can say this particular uh, course is for the system and network administrator. When we talk about network and system administrator, we're talking about the infrastructure. So infrastructure is something where you're talking about your hardware, like you got your, let's say, um, server, workstations, desktop, laptops, tablets, phones. All these fall under routers, switches, all these fall under the infrastructure. So how to manage this infrastructure, how to deploy the infrastructure, how to use this infrastructure, all these things are part of your system and network administrator, and how to make sure a particular user should not be given more than that a particular user should get. So all these things you will learn here. And then career wise, it is good for we can say for freshers also. Why? Because uh, this is the infrastructure, and any industry, I mean, it could be a IT industry or non-IT industry. Now everyone has got their network. Everyone has got is connected with the IT. They're using IT to run their business or to support the business. So infrastructure is a mandatory thing. You might not have the developers everywhere. You might see one company might just purchase a software and run the software in their organization, but you need the infrastructure administrator to maintain that, right? To maintain the infrastructure. For that purpose, the infrastructure is a role. Infrastructure admin, that is system and network admin, is a role which is never going to die. Even with AI, people, you might have heard of AIs, right? So AI is going to take the job. Obviously, it is going to take the job of the people who are not compatible, who are not, we can say, are not upgrading themselves. Network and system administrator AI will be helpful. It is going to be helpful for the people who are already in the in this particular sector. They're not going to take the job. Instead, they are going to increase the chances of the job if you got already these administration skill, firewall skill, security skill, plus AI tools. So if you talk about the industry jobs, so if you search, you can search yourself. You can go to the job portals, like in India, if you are there, you can go to naukri.com or any website, or outside India, if you go to Gulf Jobs, or you go to jobseek.com or seek.com, a lot of websites are there. You can search. You just type these keywords like MCSE or Palo Alto or cybersecurity. These all CCNA, Cisco, cloud administrator, firewall security engineer. If you just put it here, you'll see that you'll find the job starting with the experience of 0 to 25 years, 30 years. They need the people. So you can start from very basic, very scratch, and obviously you can get a good job. In this particular course, we teach you from the very, very basic, considering, assuming that you don't know anything, that you are very raw, you don't have knowledge of anything at all. We start from that level, and slowly, slowly we go on a high level. At the same time, we teach you the practical things also. We give a lot of hands-on labs, which will make you comfortable and confident enough to do all this task when you go for the job also. So that's from my end. I think you can move to the next. Thank you. If you got any
Yes.
question or any query, anyone can ask me if any question or any queries there.
As Jen and Shalindar have added most of the contents, and yes, nowadays the job market is very high demanding for the cybersecurity and network security engineers. It's not about they are just hiring cybersecurity engineers. Nowadays, I'm seeing a trend as people looking for infrastructure engineer. So infrastructure engineer is nothing but they just need to know the network hardware or network softwares or anything like that. Infrastructure engineers will come with a bundle with all the skill sets, cybersecurity, network security, cloud security as well. So this is the global trend that I'm observing. The pro bundle that we are providing you have all these skill sets that you can add to your resume and build a very good career to begin with. So that's about the course that I would say. And coming to as my expertise, the firewall, Palo Alto firewall. Palo Alto firewall has a very big market these days. Almost every big organization and even medium scale organizations also they go for the Palo Alto firewalls. That's because it is very easy to handle. The GUI is very easy, and it is basically uh, give you lot more aspects, and as well as many wide varieties of security. Either it can be with the firewalls, it can be some end user agents, VPNs, and the other product is Panorama that we are going to cover in this Palo Alto Firewall series entire sessions. So yes, the once you learn all these cloud security, and as well as the firewalls can be also built on the cloud as well. So if you just learn firewall and don't learn the cloud aspects of it, that kind of a drawback, uh, kind of having a drawback, because nowadays the firewalls are not only on the physical, right? It can be built on the cloud environment as well. So we can have practical sessions where we can build our firewalls on either Azure or AWS or any other virtual systems. So that's the trend. So we need to have all these mixed bundle of skills like cybersecurity, where you why cybersecurity is important to learn to understand the firewalls is because if you see any threats on the firewall, if you want to filter it out those threats, or if you want to analyze those, or if you want to completely secure your trust network with all the with other aspects as well. So that's kind of gives you a basic idea how you can integrate those cybersecurity skills into the Palo Alto firewall. Coming to the networking background, if you know, if you start learning the network security, networking basics, like suppose let's say DNS, DHCP, um, uh, like security policies, routing, and switching. So all these basic uh, aspects, we integrate that with a firewall. So it's like step-by-step process. Start with network basics, go for the networking, learn network routing and switching, and then learn Palo Alto firewall, and then go and learn for cybersecurity. So I would say this is the best combo that we can have.
So we were talking about infrastructure, as we're talking about infrastructure engineer role or admin role. So in the infrastructure, we get something, as I told you, the hardware, the network hardware, and the infrastructure. So when you talk about infrastructure, we have got servers, we have got clients. In the client, we can have desktops, we can have the laptops, the mobiles, mobile phones, the tablet. And in the network hardware, we will have routers, switches. Then we have firewalls also. We have types of firewall where we got the hardware firewall, software firewall. So, and then you learn the cabling also, different type of cablings, like for example, fiber optic cabling, how does it work? That is the communication media. Then how you got the UTP cables or LAN cables, which is commonly called. Right. So in the infrastructure, this is your infrastructure, which is the hardware. Now, how you're going to operate this hardware, you need you need some operating system. Hardware has got your motherboard, your keyboard, mouse, RAM, storage like the hard disk or SSD devices, but you need some operating system to manage them. And that operating system has to be that capability to maintain this infrastructure uh, for uh, for security, for access, and many things like that. So we have got different type of hard operating system. Or the popular operating system we have got Microsoft Windows in the infrastructure. This is, and we have got Linux operating system. Linux also we have got different varieties. We can say there is no distributions or distros. Like we have got Red Hat Linux. We have got SUSE Linux. These are some Linux operating system, which is mainly for the infrastructure management, we can say. But we have got many more, like for security, we have Kali Linux, we have got Parrot Linux, we have got CentOS. So different distributions are there in Linux also. They are almost similar. 95% features are same in all the Linux distro. Similarly, Microsoft Windows, when I talk about Microsoft Windows Server, which is part of your MCSA, Microsoft Certified System Administrator, which will give you understanding of how you're going to use the operating system, Microsoft Windows operating system, to manage all your infrastructure. Now, when I talk about the infrastructure here, in very simple terms, I would like to I like to show you what is a network basically. If I talk of network, any network needs three things to complete. If you want to have a network, there are three mandatory things are there. The first is there should be at least two individuals. For any communication, you need minimum two people, two individuals, two objects, right? For example, if you are at home and you want to go to, let's say, airport, so you will find a person and you don't know how to reach at airport. So obviously you're going to ask anyone, right, how to go to the airport. You'll ask that person the route, how to go, what should be the mode of transportation. Everything you're going to ask to another person if you don't know, right? Or if there is no person, you might have a map, you might have a book, guide. You can use that and you can go. But if you don't know a location, you have to take the help of the other people. Else you will be wandering here and there to reach at the destination. It is possible you might reach, but it is not, it's not guarantee that you might reach also. So any communication need minimum two people, two individuals. Then if two people are communicating, you need a proper media. You need proper media between them. Okay. If you want them to communicate, there should be a proper media of the communication. For example, if you're talking with a person face to face, the media, there is the air. Because of the air, your voice is traveling and going to the person's ear. Similarly, if person is saying something, you can hear him or her because of the air is carrying your voice signals. Similarly, you can see each other because of the light. So air and light is a media, we can say, right? Similarly, your mouth, your ears, and eyes, they are receiver and sender of the signals, which is traveling on the air, traveling on the media. So you need the proper media. Then you need set of rules that is known as protocol. So for any communication, when you start any communication, there is a method to start a communication, that what will happen first. Then for example, if you go and ask a person about the route of a destination, you'll go and might ask, excuse me, can you tell me so and so route, right? and the person will tell you the route, or the person might say, I don't know, then you end the communication, you might say thank you and go on. So there is a proper set of rules for any communication, even though if you are not, into IT industry or anything, but there are rules for any communication, right? So this is all your network infrastructure, and all the network revolves around these three things. So when we say two individuals, here we are talking about server and the client. So you will learn about them in details. When you say proper media, the media types, you got a wire media, that is cable media, you got wireless media, that is cableless media. So you learn about that in detail. At the same time, here devices will be taught, like router, your switches, what they do, why they require, what is their use, then firewall also, right? These are the very important devices in a network. So then you require a set of rules that is known as the protocol. So protocol we use all over the world as for network communication. So we learn about TCP/IP. TCP/IP is must. It is like core of your networking. If you know TCP/IP in depth, so you can say you are 50% of the network administrator or infrastructure administrator, or even firewall administrator, if you understand the concept of TCP/IP in detail, right? So these all three things make you a good network administrator or the infrastructure administrator, along with your firewall and everything. So server client, if we talk here, so server and client, they need operating system. So operating system, Windows is a very powerful operating system, which is used by almost all the organization in the world, along with the Linux. So you will find usually the combination of Windows and Linux in all the industry. So it's not, I mean, it might be at some places only Windows is used, at some places only Linux is used, but very rare. Maximum you will find it's combination of Windows and Linux. Somewhere Windows will be working as a server for certain things, somewhere Linux will be used as a server. So it's a combination. So if you know both the operating system, you have got more ammunitions in your kit, you can say, right? Then understanding the router concept, it's very important. See, router is again is a product of Cisco. I mean, you learn about the CCNA. Although there are many vendors of the routers, like Juniper is there, right, and Dell is there. A lot of routers you'll find, but Cisco is the most popular router because the founder, we can say. So again, Cisco certification will help you a lot. Switches also part of the CCNA. Firewall also, we can say part of CCNA, as well as the different Palo Alto and these kind of firewalls are there, which are more popular. So you can see you are using different vendors, you will be using the different vendors product, and it is combining, it is giving you a combination of the infrastructure administration. Now, if I talk about, let's say, server and client. So the server and client relationship has got context. Like there are two contexts of the server and client, we can say. Server is someone who is serving you some resources. Let's say this is your server, okay, and their client. It has got a file. So when you go to, let's say you go to your website, any website, what do? You are accessing a file from the website, right? Or if you, let's say you search a website, for example, you want to book a ticket for your flight or for train. So, or you are checking your bank balance or doing the transaction from a bank, you are accessing a database, right? Similarly, when you are mailing someone, you are receiving a mail, you are sending a mail, you are connecting to a message server, right? Similarly, if you are connecting to, let's say, you are using any application, for example, you are using, let's say you are playing a game, right? PUBG, for example, right? It's an application. So you connect to a server where PUBG is being loaded. Then suppose you are sending a print, you are making a printing, you are doing a printing online and in your environment, in your network. So these are the services which a client needs. So the client will request for this service, and the server will give that service to the client. For example, if you want to access your bank detail. So when the server will give you the bank detail when it knows that it is actually you. So that authentication has to take place. The authentication is required. The authentication has to take place. So server client relationship in this context where resource context, then authentication is where you got a server who has got all the username and the password restrictions, permissions, profiles, all these things are there in the server. It is kept by as an administrator, you will be creating these things. So a user need to access the database, right? Or a mail server, if you want to access your mail. So you go to mail server, you want to access your database, or you accessing a file. So your client will go to the server here, will say, my name is, let's say, John. My password is XYZ123. So the server is going to check whether this is correct or not. If it is correct, if it is not correct, it will say, no, I don't know you, I will not authenticate. But if it is correct, it will say, it will create a token, security token, which will have all the details that what this user can do, will give this security token to the user. The client will go to the server. This server will check the security token, what I should give to this user, what I should not give. It will give those information to the user. So this client, whatever we are doing, everything, even if you are accessing your mail on the phone, the whole process is happening that you're giving the username, it goes to the server, you get authentication, they get security token, you go to the server. Now this looks very simple, but behind this, the job of our infrastructure engineer and the firewall or the security engineer works here, right? So Windows Server is one of the biggest, we can say, or the best operating system, which manages all this technology. Linux also manages these things, where you can have a Linux web server, your Linux database server. Similarly, Windows SQL server we can have, mail server also we can have, authentication server also we can have. How they are connected, what kind of cable is used, what kind of wireless media is used, working here, how they know that this is the correct authentication is coming to me. All these things are totally in the backend, which you'll be learning in details, right? So this is just a glimpse, we can say, starting what you're going to learn. This is the picture, and this is every person, almost everyone currently using, right? As an end user, everyone uses mobile. Like I think 70% of the world is using mobile now for everything, right? So they are actually using this infrastructure, where you might get a spot, you might get a role to maintain these infrastructure. So any question or any query anyone is having here? Anyone? If you got any doubt, please ask. So I'll stop sharing.
So the Palo Alto Firewall was founded in 2005 by Nirzuk. So he was a principal developer and for the stateful firewalls. So he developed that firewall, and for the first time, the firewall was shipped. Built and shipped in 2007. So from then they have built multiple products around that on that. So the first product was the firewall, and then they built Cortex Data Lake, Panoramas, and other for now SD-WAN, and there is there are multiple other products for the firewalls as well, others for the Palo Alto as well. So let me first ask you a few questions. Be open to answer them. So do you know why the firewall is needed? Any students can answer.
To protect our company infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. And to understand, to know, I mean, to know why the firewall is needed, it is very important to understand how firewall works, right? So, for example, even for your Windows system, if you are downloading any malicious file or any threat content, your Windows firewall will block that automatically. So, if you turn off that Windows firewall from your system and then try to download that again, it will download, right? So, that's how the same logic that applies for firewall as well. We are segregating, or we are dividing the network from trust to untrust network. So what is trust and what is untrust network? So the trust network is nothing but your internal network, your infrastructure, like for example, your users, or maybe your databases, servers, or any cloud infrastructure, or it can be on premises. So whatever the inside your organization traffic, that is a trust network, and we protect this trust network by keeping a firewall in between towards the internet. So whenever you are trying to connect from your system to internet, so there is a firewall in between. The traffic should bypass, traffic should pass the firewall rules. If the firewall have the policy to allow that traffic, it will let the traffic go out, and then from the internet, the traffic, when the response comes back, the firewall will inspect that traffic, and then it returns to your main machine, right? So what is the work of the firewall? Firewall will basically inspect the traffic. So and the types of the firewall are like stateless firewall and stateful firewalls. So any idea what is stateless and stateful firewall? Okay, so let me explain that. So this is a main concept in the firewalls whenever you started studying the firewalls. So the stateless firewall is nothing but whenever the firewall inspects the traffic, it remembers that it doesn't remembers that traffic. So suppose, let's say you are trying to reach www.facebook.com. So whenever the traffic is going out, so the session is created on the firewall basically. So that session is not remembered by the firewall. It will just lets it out if it has the correct policy and other tuples. Or this is a stateless firewall. In the stateful firewall, the firewall remembers the session. So there will be a retention period for that. So the firewall will be remembering that session whenever the traffic going out. It will make a note of source ID, destination IP address, port number, and other aspects like what you are trying to reach, website and everything. So it will make a note of that, those sessions, and it will store that information in it. So that's, and when the traffic comes back, when the return traffic hits back to the firewall will inspect that traffic, and it will try to memorize, or it checks its history, that session has been already recorded. So it just matches with that session, and it lets you in. So this stateful firewall, basically the Palo Alto firewall is a stateful firewall. So it is kind of a faster process than compared to a stateless firewall. So and there are different types of firewall, I would say. There are the Palo Alto firewalls has different hardware sets, like PA 200 is the main basic one, and PA 400, PA 800, and then 3K series firewalls, 5K series firewalls, and then 7K series firewalls. This is how the hardware series firewall trend is. And coming to VM series firewalls, so you can build your own firewall on any of the cloud platforms. So they support on AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle Cloud, KVM, and many other platforms. So basically you need to check whether they are supported or not, and you can build a relatable resources around that firewall on any of the cloud platform that that is available. So this is about the basic idea of the firewall products that the Palo Alto has. Now let's come to the architecture of the firewall that I have right now in front of me. So assuming that you guys have a basic networking knowledge, or just like how firewall works, like it just inspects the traffic, right? So assuming that, I'm just explaining a little bit about the architecture. If you are not able to understand, just please ask me at any point. So the architecture of the firewall is every Palo Alto firewall has two planes. One is control plane and another one is data plane. So in the control plane, it is it is basically for the management configurations or management operations. It also for the logging and reporting. So whenever you are troubleshooting any issues, or suppose let's say you are trying to reach some destination and the destination is not reaching, so you need to identify what is causing the issue, right? So in that case, you go to the logs and observe whether it is denying by the destination, or is that a problem from the source side, or it is causing any intermediate devices are causing problem, or if at all, first thing you need to check if at all the traffic is reaching to the firewall or not, right? So for that, the logging is very important. So all of the loggings will be taken care by the management plane here. So that's nothing but a control plane. So in the control plane, for this control plane, it has the CPU, dedicated CPU and dedicated memory as well. If you know, whenever you make some changes on the firewall, you do a commit for that change, right? So for example, like you click on any changes and then you do a commit. So that commit to the changes has been managed or controlled by this control plane. So that is nothing but your management plane. Whenever you are trying to do some commits, automatically the CPU will increase. I'll show you in a minute. So the management plane or the control plane is nothing but your management interface. So whenever you connect to a firewall, so you will have a management interface setting where you can directly connect from your PC to the management interface, and you can start controlling the firewall, or the initial configurations can be done on the firewall. So this is about the control plane. And next comes to the data plane. So data plane is nothing but any questions? Okay, so the data plane is nothing but it matches the multiple signatures, and it also is responsible for the security processing. There are multiple features called application identification, user identification, URL match, policy match. So these all different features are taken care by the data plane. And also network processing. Suppose for example, you have 4-5 interfaces on the firewall. All those interfaces traffic are maintained by the data plane. So this is a simple, this is an overview of how the Palo Alto architecture is. So maybe going forward, when we start the session, we need to go deeper on this to understand how the application identification works, what is the user identification, what is a URL match. Suppose let's say that you are allowing a facebook.com. So how that URL is matching, and then it lets you out from your trust network to untrust network. So that we are going to see in our practical sessions going forward. Coming to the setup part, I would like to show a little bit about how the lab setups are, how we can do the practical sessions. Just give me a moment. So for the lab sessions, basically, we need like i5 system is also fine. So which has 16 GB RAM and 4-core CPU. So in the EVNG setup, we can have a VMware workstation, and in the VMware workstation, we can build our own Palo Alto firewalls. So that's how I built one of the lab. And yeah, so this is a lab session this is a lab that we are going to explore in our training session. So this is nothing but a simple connectivity. This is our VMware network, and from the VMware I have connected directly to my local machine. So for example, okay, for example here, so this is my VMware, and from the VMware I have connected to my local PC, and my local PC is however connected to the internet. So this is how the Palo Alto firewall is going to get the internet. So this is just a normal simple setup that I have done just for the demo purpose. So and how we are going to connect our VMware to local PC and local PC to internet, we have steps, and I think going forward we will be seeing around that. So going to the Palo Alto firewall further, I would like to show the UI page. So once the firewall is hosted, once you start the session, you will get a login page like this, and you enter your username and password. Basically, in the beginning, you need to set your username and password through a CLI or maybe a GUI. You can try to log into the device. So this is a older PAN-OS version that looks like this. The newer PAN-OS version are little different, but all the features are same. It's just little look is different. So I just purposefully kept the older PAN-OS version because in our lab sessions I can show you how to upgrade a firewall and other sessions. So once you log into the firewall, this is a general information that you can see here. So what is the IP address of the firewall and management netmarks. So I was saying, right, so the firewall is management plane and data plane. So if you can see, this is a management IP address. So whatever the login and configuration things that you are going to do, that is managed by your management plane. So that's why this is called a management IP address always. So this is all the information, and you will also have your license information here. This device is not licensed, so the license is none. And also other license versions, for example, your software versions, URL filter versions, and other details. Most of the details you can see here in the general information. I was saying about the in the Palo Alto firewalls, the management plane and data planes are very crucial to understand. So you see the system resources here. So the management plane is of 8% and data plane is of 1%, right? So why it is 8% is because we are just trying to logging in. So only the management plane is active. The data plane is not active because I haven't configured any of the interfaces. So this is a widget that you can configure. I mean, you can do customize however you want. So this is one of the feature that they have. If the interfaces are configured and it is up, it will show green here. If the interfaces are down, it will show red. As of now, the interfaces are not configured, so these are in gray. So this is about the first section, and other things are quite common that you can see the system logs here, and the ACC report. I will explain you what is the ACC report further. So the ACC report is nothing but your network activity, or if suppose any top talkers, for example, one of the application is eating all of your data, or it is bottlenecked, or your data plane is very high, then how you troubleshoot. So in that case, you can go to the ACC report and identify what is the bytes, what are the sessions, is that activity, is that because of the threat, any of the threat activity that has been identified. So basically you can troubleshoot or you can try to navigate that issue through the SSC report. Okay. Next thing is monitor. Under monitor tab, you can see the traffic logs, threat logs, URL filtering logs. So whatever the feature that you are trying to configure, those all things, those all logs you can identify here, and also you can take the packet captures on the firewall. So you can take the packet capture on specific interface, or you can take a packet capture of only drop or only ingress or egress traffic. So that feature is also available. So once the packet capture is on, and all the things are set here, you will see the packet captured files are generated, and you will download these files and you will analyze for the troubleshooting purpose. And under this policies, we can configure security policies to allow certain traffic, and you can also configure the NAT rules, QoS, policy based forwarding, and these all things we can configure under policies. And under object, so objects are nothing but, suppose let's say if you are allowing a IP address 10.0.0.1, so basically first you need to create a object here, and some description, IPNet mask, and or either you can configure it as a FQDN, IP range, or IPNet mask. So this object you will call under the security policy. So you can create address groups, regions, and these are especially different services objects that we can create, and custom objects like for data patterns, vulnerability, URL category. Also we can have custom objects. So I mean, this requires a lot of time to go slow and understand each and every bit of the Palo Alto firewalls, and different aspects. So I would not like to go through each and everything and run through very fast. So next, go to the network interface. This is one of the important and very basic thing whenever, as a network security engineer or as a network engineer, you get a firewall in hand. So the first thing you usually see is the interface, and you will set a interface first. So these are the network interfaces: Ethernet 1x1 and Ethernet 1x2. All these interfaces you can configure it as trust interface, untrust interface. So all these things. And another part,
Ma'am,
yes,
I have one question, ma'am. The interface which you shown just now, those all are virtual interfaces, right, ma'am?
this firewall itself is virtual interface as of now. It's on the EVNG, right? So,
No, I'm just talking about on physical box also, ma'am.
on the physical box, it will be a physical interface. Like port, if you have observed about switch, like you plug in and plug out the cable, right? So the same way you will have these links or these ports. One will be management port,
Okay, ma'am.
and yeah, and the rest will be your data planes, which is these interfaces. Okay.
Ma'am, I have also one another question.
Yes.
Palo Alto Firewall do support VPN capabilities, ma'am? Can we host VPN server on Palo Alto Firewall?
Yes, we can. So VPNs, the Palo Alto will have its own VPN called Global Protect. I will show you just in a minute. So you can configure your Global Protect, and you can push that Global Protect client to all the users. For example, if you have used any Cisco VPNs, right? So the Cisco client will be installed on all the user machines, but it is managed by your organization, right? In the same way, the Global Protect is a Palo Alto's VPN. So you can push that client to all the user machines, and you can configure that Global Protect VPN under here.
So do we need to like purchase separate box for VPN, or the same firewall we can add this VPN service as well?
The same service will work here. It doesn't require any
Just we
separate.
need to purchase the license for VPN. That's all.
Yes, exactly. So if you see here is the Global Protect portals and gateway. There are two different, I would say phases. Like this is how we configure. Suppose let's say you have any Active Directory users, right? So you can integrate those Active Directory users here. And once you integrate those Active Directory users, your username will be, the firewall will be able to identify those usernames. And for those users, you can push the Global Protect client VPN for all those Active Directory users. Does that make sense?
Okay, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. All right. So, that was little advanced. Even if you don't understand, totally fine. Don't worry about it. We are going to explore that in our future classes. So, as of now, I was explaining the basic thing that once you get a Palo Alto firewall in hand, like a fresh box, so what you need to do. So once you get a Palo Alto firewall box in a hand, you will, this is actually DHCP enabled. So by the VMware. So that's why I got a DHCP IP address to this device. So this is my EVNG setup. So if you can observe my EVNG setup's IP address is 152.128, right? So my firewall IP address is 152.129. So I will show you where that DHCP is. If you go to device setup and interfaces, so this is a management interface. I was telling you that management plane and data plane, right? So again, the same concept applies here. So this management plane is nothing but your the management configuration, your IP addresses, right? How the admin is trying to control the firewall. So those all activities managed by your management plane. So if you see, it is DHCP client. So I got IP address from the VMware. It is set to DHCP. You can configure it as a static as well. Okay. So this is the first thing when you get a device in hand. So usually most of the companies will have the DHCP servers, but some companies will try to would like to keep a static IP address. In that case, you need to set a IP address in your range, in your network, so that you can access the device, netmask, default gateway, and these settings, click OK and then commit. So this is one of the first step that you do. Okay. And the next thing is setting up the host name, domain, and these things. Suppose let's say you are setting up host name as like test, or maybe I will put it as training day 1. Okay. So I just want to show you how we commit on the Palo Alto device. Okay. So now I made some changes. So I can see the commit is glowing red. So I will, so you can do a preview change for this so that it will show what was the change that we made. Okay. Or we can do a change summary. It will show the system edits, and it will show what was the changes that we made. So you can see the host name training day 1, right? So this was the changes that we made. And before we commit, even like if you can validate the commit, so that option also we have. So these are the few important like interview questions. So they will ask about what is the validate commit, or what is a commit, and there is one more called auto commit. So I'll explain you in a bit. So validate commit is nothing but whenever before committing, if you want to validate what was the change that you made, so it will, whether it will fail or pass, it will show. It won't affect any firewall change, but it will just validate that and it will push that configuration. Okay. So I'll do a commit and I'll show you how the management plane changes. So you can see the management CPU is going to 77%, right? It was there like nearly about 10-12%. Why it has increased is your commit changes has been managed by your management plane. So when the CPU utilization has been increased, so whenever there is some work going on the CPU management plane, the CPU utilization has increased. It will come down in a while. There's one scenario where if you're not able to commit on the device, it will show the commit failed, okay? Or if you're not able to access the device through the GUI, then it is obvious that there is some issue on the management plane, and that's why you're not able to do a commit, because obviously the management plane CPU has spiked up maybe, or maybe there is some corrupt in that CPU utilization or anything related. So basically that's how you understand where is the problem. So if you are not able to commit, then you need to understand there is some problem on the management plane, and then you can see the other daemons that they are working. So if you can see the commit has been successfully done, so now the management CPU started decreasing. So if you refresh, it will go down in a while. Okay. And this is a session count. So as of now, the firewall is not licensed, so it supports about 1,248 sessions overall. So if this 1,248 sessions are completely, so out of 1,000 sessions are occupied on the data plane CPU, then this 1% goes to high. So that's how the CPU is divided between the management plane and the data plane. So the data plane CPU is usually for the traffic management. Okay, so this is about the commit. And one more thing. So once you I'll show you in a bit about the commit. Okay, so this is and how to take a firewall backup, right? So under device setup operations. So whenever you're trying to build a firewall, whenever you're trying to usually if it is a fresh firewall, test firewall, then maybe you'll just go to the policy and add a simple 1 or 2 rules, right? But suppose if you have any earlier firewall, you will definitely import a device configuration to the firewall. So this is how either you can import the device snapshot or device import device state. So there are while you're exporting, you can export the device snapshot or any device state or any other configuration version that you have. So this is how you can import and export. So and also if you want to revert it to the previous running configuration, so before commit the firewall will be on the running configuration, and after commit it will be on the I think I forgot that keyword, but I'll let you know. So after the configuration, you can revert it to the previous configuration. So this is how you perform configuration backup or importing the configurations. So and under services, so this is one of the very important thing that you need to know under the Palo Alto is the Palo Alto should always reach to this updates.paloalto.networks.com. Why? Because all the updates for antivirus, threats, wildfires, so the firewall is operated on. So that database is updated always on this updates.paloaltonetworks.com. So we need to make sure that the update server is reachable from your firewall, so that whenever the firewall is trying to get newer updates, so it won't show you some errors. So and also it is very important to have the NTP servers. So every organization will have their own NTP server. If you can able to why the NTP server is very important is because of again logging and reporting, right? So suppose let's say you are in India time zone and some of your teammates are in US time zone. So you are trying to troubleshoot a certain issue that web server is not reaching. So how you will troubleshoot? You need to first thing, you need to identify the timestamp, right? So for the timestamp, the NTP servers are very important to know. So this is about the services. And the one more important aspect about the Palo Alto firewalls is the service route. So all of the traffic is by default goes via management interface. Okay, so I was showing you the architecture right here. So all of the traffic is by default will flow through the management interface, but there are certain services that you can manage them, uh, that you can manage, customize it. Suppose, let's say, what are those services? It can be DNS, HTTP, any LDAP authentications, or Kerberos authentication, MDM. So different services, you can set this to either different interfaces. You can keep it as default, or you can keep it as any of the addresses or any of the interfaces. So this is one of the very important feature in the Palo Alto firewalls. Most of the interviewers will ask you about. And one more thing about, I'll take a putty session maybe and show you. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Okay, so whenever the device is like, even if you guys don't have the GUI, you can always have the CLI of the device, and then the first thing that you will run is show system info, right? So the general information, if you whatever that you see general information under the GUI, the same thing that you can see under the CLI, these things. Okay. And next thing, once the device is back, or maybe for the first time the device is up, so what you have to do is show jobs ID. Sorry. Okay. So if you run show jobs all, okay, the first thing that you need to see is auto commit is completed or not. Whenever the Palo Alto firewall reboots, the first thing that it does is auto commit. So if the auto commit fails, then the device is not back up or it is not ready yet. So the first thing you need to see when the firewall is up, or once the firewall is in your hand as a network engineer or a network security engineer. So while you're configuring it or trying to check the things, so the first thing that you need to see is the auto commit completion. So this is also one of the very important interview questions that they ask about the commit, auto commit, and validate commit. So we validated the commit, right? So that's where the validate has been created here. Okay, so these are the different things about the basics of the Palo Alto networks, the lab setup. So we are starting from the very basic. I'll try to explain how the DHCP servers, DNS servers are trying to integrate with the Palo Alto firewalls, and then how we are trying to configure the routings, security policies. So these all things, and then going forward, we will see the life of a packet in the firewall, how the firewall will inspect the traffic, right? So whenever the traffic is hitting on the firewall, how the firewall will inspect the traffic, what is the process that it follows, right? So that is very important to know, because when you're trying to troubleshoot an issue, that understanding each of these things will be very important to decode or trying to narrow down the issue further. So yeah, so this is all about the basics of the
Yeah, hi.
firewall. Yeah.
Yeah, Bhagyashree, your screen is not visible.
Yeah, I just stopped sharing. If you have any questions, let me know.
Mm-hmm.